it's Danielle, and I am here with another Twerk It Thursday video. So I thought I would start off by showing you this really cute inspiration piece for this week, and also show you the sketch that I'm going to be working with today. I love a grid design, so I was really excited when Deanna suggested we use this sketch, and I definitely had fun working with a grid this week. So I'm going to be scrapbooking these 3 photos of me and my husband. They're just 3 different shots of us, and I decided that I wanted to do a 6x12 layout. I don't do a ton of 6x12 layouts, but I really like to do them, and I do have a pretty good handful of this size in my album, and every time I do it, I always really like it, and this was no exception to that. So I am going to be scrapbooking on both sides of the layout today, and on one of my sides I'm going to be putting a quote down. And so what I did is I went through all of my letter stickers and I pulled any set that matched the colors of the inspiration piece, and I am just quickly going through these so you can see what letters that I had to work with. I've already put my title down on this sheet of paper, or this sheet of plastic, so it'd be ready for me. And now I'm just going through the process of getting it all on my paper. I really like the look of all these different I guess fonts and different colors all mixed together. I think it looks really cute. But you'll see here that I'm just using the grid on my mat to try to get this as even as possible. I guess I'm not going to use a ruler or anything. I'm not too worried if it's perfect. But as I was getting this all in position, I was kind of thinking about my layout, and I thought it would be fun to make this into a giant tag. So I cut the corners off the top of my layout so that it would just literally look like a tag, and I think that that will be fun to have in my book. I love tags, so I put them on all of my layouts, it seems, and so it was fun to do that tag look in a little bit different of a way. Now, since I was messing with these letters so much, a lot of them just aren't sticky anymore, so I'm just taking some glue and getting them stuck down so that I don't have to worry about them falling off. And then when I get that done, I bring out the other half of my paper, and just so that both sides match, I'm going to use my first layout as a template to cut my second sheet of paper, so they will both be nice and even. And now I'm going to start working on that grid design. So I went through and I cut some papers that of course went with the color scheme of the inspiration piece. I got these papers from my stash. A lot of them are Project Life cards, really. And then I just kind of went through my scrap paper. And now I'm just going through and kind of placing them on, in that grid pattern. I just want to make sure that everything looks balanced. So I want to make sure that the colors are kind of spread out, the photos are spread out evenly, and even the patterns are kind of spread out evenly. And so I'm just kind of playing around with the placement of those. Now, lately when I've been doing grid patterns, I really like to have one of the squares, or even a couple of the squares, be vellum. So I choose to make the center one be vellum, and I did 2 pieces of vellum doubled up just to give it a little bit more of a, I guess, a textured look to it. Now I'm figuring out what I want to do on the top here. My original plan was I was going to actually do a 4th row up there, but it didn't quite fit once I turned that into a big tag. But I do have these 2 words. They obviously say love, and one of them is gold and one of them is wood veneer, and I kind of go back and forth about which one I want to use. I do end up just sticking with that gold one I have on there now. Now I have a bunch of little embellishments that I thought fit the theme of my layout. Some of these I knew what I was going to do with them, and you'll see that other ones I kind of fiddle with them quite a bit. So just as I was looking for a nice balance when I was putting down my little squares, I'm also looking for a nice balance when I put down my embellishments. So I don't want there to be, I don't want to put the two wood veneers right by each other, or I don't want to put the hearts right by each other. I want there just to be a nice balance of all of the different elements. And so I do kind of play around with each of them just to see what order that I actually like. Now, when I was picking my embellishments, I try to pick things that went along with the theme. So I always like to use ampersands on layouts that have me and my husband, or uh, even my family, just because those ampersands kind of symbolize coming together for me. Obviously, hearts would be good on a layout like this, and of course, cameras are going to be good on any layout, but I do stamp a phrase later on that kind of goes with the camera, so that ties in a couple different ways. So now that I have my embellishments kind of how I want them, I know that I want to put my initial, our last name initial, in that center little square. So I pull out my letter stickers again, and at first I think that I want to use pink just to bring a little bit more of that into the layout. And as I'm putting this letter in the center, I realize that it looks heavy having the letter and then the ampersand right next to it. So I do even more switching up of all of my embellishments. I finally like the way it looks here, but I realize that I don't like the color of the letter. So I end up settling on one that's kind of an off-white in color, but it has little gray or black polka dots on it. And I know that you probably can't really tell that on camera, but it's really cute. And I really like the way that ended up looking all together. So seems how I'm happy with that. I'm just going to go ahead and use my Tombow tape runner to get everything stuck down. And I'm by no means worrying about if my spacing is perfect. It just doesn't bother me. So I'm just getting them down close enough, and I'm calling it good. When I go to position this wood veneer on my piece of glassine bag, I put it on totally off-centered, and it kind of bugged me. So I tried to get the adhesive off of that bag, but it just wasn't coming off. So I just decided to go ahead and ditch it. It wasn't that big of a deal to include it, I didn't think. And then I'm just using this quick dry adhesive to just get the rest of my embellishments stuck down to my layout. I really liked the way all of these colors looked together. I work with these colors individually. I really like working with the teal. I definitely like working with the pink, and but I don't, it seems like I don't very often combine all of these colors together on a layout. And so I really enjoyed the opportunity to do something a little bit different, and I thought it was a lot of fun to work with those. Obviously this fine line bottle is perfect for this love embellishment. It worked perfect in getting the adhesive on that. But now I'm going to work on getting my little phrase stamp, and I'm using an Allie Edwards stamp. I'm pretty positive it's from her Click Story Kit. And then I pull out two different inks, and I try this lighter one first. It's a Hero Arts ink, and I'm pretty sure it's called Soft Pink. And once I stamped it, I could see right away that the brighter pink, which is called Bubblegum, was going to be too bright. And then I, at first, think that I'm going to attempt to just ink up each word individually, because I don't want it to go across. It's obviously not going to fit like that. I want it to go up and down. And then I decide to cut up my stamp, which is something that I hardly ever do. It truly makes me cringe just a little bit, but I knew that it's not a big deal to cut it up, because you can just piece it back together if I ever wanted to use it the way it was originally oriented. But because I wanted it to be in a line like this just made it so much quicker and so much faster. So it wasn't that big of a deal. So I just am getting these positioned back on my little stamp set how they were. And then I'm gonna just get that taped down to my layout. And even though I didn't plan it this way, I kind of like that that is positioned right below the camera. So now the last thing that I kind of have to do is get my little hole on my tag and put these little reinforcers on there. Now I cut these out with my silhouette, and I cut it out with out of some wood grain paper. I wanted something that was just neutral, and I had a scrap of this sitting on my desk, and I thought that will look good. So I didn't think too much about that decision as far as what paper I was going to use to make that little circle. But you can see there that I just kind of marked out where I needed the circle to be. And because it was going to get covered up, I wasn't concerned if this hole was pretty by any means. I was just making it so that it was a hole. So I get these taped down and in place, and I just think that it looks so cute. I really like that. But once I get the one side done, I can use that to mark where I need it done on the other side. That way I don't have to worry about if it's going to line up or not. I know that it will. And then I just get this other circle cut out real quick and get everything taped together. I decided it would be easier to place that second hole reinforcer down if I stuck the two layouts together first, which it definitely did help. Then I could make sure everything was lined up correctly. So as the last little finishing touch, I decided to take some pink twine and loop it through my tag. And I just decided to tie it in a cute little bow, and then I call this layout done. So if you haven't already checked out Deanna's video, I would encourage you to do that. We both used the same sketch this week, so it will definitely be fun to see her take on it. Also, if you guys decide to do a layout using this sketch, or even if you're doing a project that was inspired by our inspiration piece, definitely head on over to our Facebook group and post it on there. I know that we would love to see your guys' projects and see how you guys are inspired by the different sketches and inspiration pieces that we are using each week. If you wanted to check out more of my videos, I am Banning Lane on YouTube, so head on over there and you can check out more of my videos. Like I said, I will link to everything down below that you need to know. But thanks so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you all soon. All right, bye guys.